All right, everyone, Marco Palmero, founder of Ulysses in Dubai. And in this video, I want to discuss with you why sourcing deal flow in the Middle East takes much more time than in other parts of the world, and why that incentivized us to create a deal flow service that we provide to other companies after we tested on our own business. Now, deal flow here is a very complex topic, and it is a complex topic because of the way the region behaves when it comes to business. As I mentioned in many other videos, a lot of the relationships that are built business-wise are first relationships that are built to understand what is the individual all about. And so it's knowing each other and then starting to do business together. And so, as you can probably imagine by what I just said, the timeline for doing business together is stretched by a lot, because before people talk business with you, they want to get acquainted and get to know you and understand who they're dealing with. And that is in most cases due to the fact that people come and go from the region, especially from the UAE. And so people want to understand what kind of person you are and whether or not they want to be associated with you from a business perspective. And by the way, even when it comes to acquiring businesses and buying assets, people will still approach the relationship that way, even if they are super motivated in selling. And you might like it, you might not like it. Personally, I didn't like it in the first place, but ultimately I needed to accept that fact and kind of like act accordingly. And so what I've seen many times is that the first approach towards getting deal flow is building up relationships with people that understand that you're committed in doing certain things and that you will be serious about doing business together. Subsequently to that, you can start discussing business more deeply and then come to a point where you can potentially discuss a transaction. Now, why do I say all this? Well, because companies and many businesses might not want to go through all these steps and challenges. They might just want to go in and start negotiating a deal right away because they don't have the time, they don't have the resources, they don't want to have that hassle. And so that's when we realized that it was important for a lot of businesses to just skip all this process and create a straightforward path towards the negotiation. And that's when we decided to create a deal flow service that basically sources opportunities, builds up the relationships, and then connects the buyer and the seller right away. And by the way, this is not a brokerage kind of thing or an advisory kind of thing, because what we take care of is the pure deal flow process. And so you can look at us as a outside team, kind of like that you outsource services to. The point here is we streamline the deal flow process and we save you time and resources so that you can start getting transactions right away. And that, of course, is a process that we work on and that we continue to work on because we build relationships for our own selves in the Middle East, and then we are able to leverage those to access quality deal flow. And in most cases, building up relationships this way enables us to access opportunities that are not listed on the market, which is another important point. Going straight to the point might not necessarily be the best approach because it won't give you access to opportunities that are confidential, because people will not trust you enough with that. And as a consequence, you might just get the opportunities that everybody has access to, the ones listed on broker sites, the ones that are in the market that everybody know are for sale. And yeah, you might be happy with those, but they might not be the best deals. And so looking at the region from different perspective and understanding how relationships are built and how a pipeline of deals is created, I think is very, very important, because it then enables you to create a correct strategy for entering the market and acquiring assets here. And again, I've seen time being a factor in so many deals. Early in the days, I used to go straight to the point, but I lately realized that maybe one additional meeting in each relationship was all I needed to build much stronger relationships that might not pay me dividends immediately, but might be useful for me later down the line, and useful for the other side as well, right? Because if we don't do business immediately, we might do business later on in the future. And so my point here is, I talked about this in another video when I talked about the challenges and the problems companies face when they look at investments and acquisition opportunities in the Middle East. The problem, and one of the main problems, is they underestimate the amount of time that is required to build a correct deal flow pipeline here. Now, of course, if we're talking about big corporates that just want to buy a large corporation, that's a whole different subject. What I'm talking about is small, medium-sized asset acquisitions that are not necessarily listed on the market, that require strong relationships to be found. And in many cases, businesses struggle in finding these opportunities because, again, they don't approach things in the right way. So there's two ways you can go about it. Either you build up the relationships yourself, you invest time, resources, in manpower into that, or you work with somebody like us that already has a system in place for deal flow and can streamline the process for you. And that enables really to focus on the execution part, which is selecting the best possible opportunities and start the negotiations. And from that moment on, you can take control of the deal, because we're not really brokers or advisors. So we don't work on the deal itself, but we create the deal flow for you. We present to you the opportunities, and then it's up for you to decide how you want to handle that deal. And so you have full control of the transaction in a one-on-one relationship with the seller. By the way, these types of solutions are very much suited for small companies and big companies alike, maybe less for individuals that might be looking just for one investment, because our deal flow services, of course, provide multiple transactions, and companies that might want to buy one or two or three assets might benefit from this a lot more. And of course, the fee that is charged might be more acceptable for them rather than an individual who maybe is just looking to buy a small business to generate a little bit of income for himself. By the way, if you're interested in deal flow services, make sure you check our links below. We generally take on only a few engagements per quarter because we also have our own business acquisitions that we do. But once we take an engagement, we're 100% committed in working with you so that you can be successful. And so we take a few clients so that we can serve them the best. And yeah,